how's that economy going under Donald Trump? How are those trade deals going that continue are supposed to roll down from day to day to day? Let's go find out how they're working.
General Motors shares T-boned by tariffs. The stock is diving several percentage points here, 7+% after the auto giant reported a 32% slump in quarterly profits due to a $1.1 billion hit from the tariffs, which GM says will actually worsen in the current quarter.
GM, an American car company that Donald Trump said he's going to help make sure he bolsters and bring into this golden age and bring in tons of revenue. They'll get to sell all across the world. Look at how much money is going to come in. Consumer prices are going to be great. So many jobs are going to be made, and it's going to happen immediately. Like he says, everything else was supposed to happen. But damn it, it's weird. Now they have this 1.1, what is it, billion-dollar loss? Actually, let's get a little more information about that.
How bad did GM say this is?
So look, tariffs are taking a bite. Remember, we had that 25% tariff on imported autos and car parts take effect early April. So GM, they reported earnings, and they said they're looking at a $1.1 billion impact in the second quarter from tariffs, and that could expand to $4 to $5 billion if they're looking at the full year. Now, they also did say that they're taking steps to mitigate that risk by bringing manufacturing more into the U.S., but that takes time and money.
As we try to assess the effect of tariffs here, GM is by no means the only car company taking a hit.
It's definitely not. Stellantis is as well. So they also shared they're expecting a $350 million roughly impact during the first 6 months. They also shared that shipments to North America were down 25% in the second quarter versus the year before, right? Those cars are more expensive when you bring them into the country. That's why that is down.
$1.1 billion losses in one quarter, and they're expecting $4 to $5 billion if this continues, which August is right around the corner. And that's when this next phase of hundreds of deals coming in place versus more pushback from Taco Don. But they keep talking about how the expectations are supposed to be so great. Here's details of what GM is going through. CFRA research analyst Garrick Nelson wrote in a Tuesday morning note that one of the reasons shares dropped with GM was because investors were disappointed that the automaker did not raise guidance. Beyond tariffs, GM's underlying business in the quarter was solid, actually. Sales in the U.S. market, which is its main source of profit, rose by 7%, while the company continued to command strong pricing on its pickup trucks and SUVs. So this is happening. The whole point of that is the 7% raise in revenue from sales here. That was a raise in revenue, but they still lost $1.1 billion because of the cost of these tariffs. Where do you think that's going to eventually go to? A little bit more. These analysts said GM may need to cut investment in future projects or find other ways to trim spending to offset the effect of tariffs. The automakers so far are keeping pricing consistent and absorbing added tariff costs rather than passing them down to consumers. So right now, that's why they took that $1.1 billion hit. They're trying to absorb these so that Donald Trump won't tweet out and say, how dare GM doesn't try and make me look good from the way that I've raised prices on everything in their operations, and they can't take that hit. Same thing he did with, I think, Amazon, Walmart, when they point out that they're going to be raising prices as well. He's going to come after them and say, you have to protect me in my really bad policies that are screwing over the American people. So that $1.1 billion the hit that they took, they're going to change that up because these analysts said as that stock drops, GM doesn't want their stock to drop. So they're going to pass those on. And they use the terms, they need to cut investment in future projects. Would that be all that manufacturing that they're saying is going to be flooding back to the United States? Maybe it'd be all those jobs that they were saying is going to be so many more people going to be opened up to in the United States. They got to cut something. And what they'll cut are those types of things, because they're definitely not going to cut into their wallets. That's not how big time capitalists in this country work. So again, as I point out, that GM stock dropped 6% after it revealed these earnings. That signaled Wall Street's displeasure with the company's strategy so far of absorbing tariffs as a hit to their profits. Quote, to put full year targets in reach, this analyst Daniel Rosca and Christopher Gray of research and brokerage firm Bernstein wrote this note saying GM needs to start mitigating their tariff cost. It's right there in front of us. This is reasons why when people say, why are you not rooting for America? How can you say that these are going to destroy the country? Why are you going to say prices are going up? Why would you be so negative? It's not about me negative. And I'm no economist. I just read stuff. So the degree of knowing this stuff is just reading people who know more about it and then taking that in and understanding that 2 plus 2 still equals 4. And if we're getting these costs passed on to us, as we're seeing right in front of our faces, despite him talking about gas prices being at $1.98 when they're actually 60 to 70 cents higher, at least in my area, then I feel like you should be able to take your own reality over the things that the guy who's putting all of that negative pressure and influencing your life this way, just telling you what your reality should be. And this is his big announcement. We just completed a massive deal with Japan, perhaps the largest deal ever made. Japan will invest, at my direction, $550 billion into the United States, which will receive 90% of the profits. This deal will create hundreds of thousands of jobs. There's never been anything like it. Perhaps most importantly, Japan will open their country to trade, including cars and trucks, rice, and certain other agricultural products, and other things. Japan will pay reciprocal tariffs to the United States of 15%. This is where it all hits the road. This is a very exciting time for the United States of America, and especially for the fact that we will continue to always have a great relationship with the country of Japan. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So his deal he's made with Japan is to get their tariffs down to 15%, when previous to his ass coming into office, I think it was 2.5 or something like that I saw. Because as he came in and slapped 25% rates on Japan, because, they're so unfair to us, he brought it down to 15%. And now this whole deal with Japan that he's announcing is a big victory isn't that good for these American companies either. I'm going to show you why. A group that's representing General Motors and Ford and Chrysler, their parent company Stellantis, on Tuesday raised concerns about a trade deal that could cut tariffs on auto imports from Japan to 15% that we just talked about, while leaving tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico at 25% because he's still mad at them. Matt Blunt, who heads the American Automotive Policy Council that represents the Detroit 3 automakers, said that they were still reviewing the agreement, but, quote, any deal that changes a lower tariff for Japanese imports with virtually no U.S. content than the tariff imposed on North American-built vehicles with high U.S. content is a bad deal for the U.S. industry and U.S. auto workers. So clear enough, if you're punishing Canada and Mexico to higher rates than you're punishing Japanese companies that are sending in their products that, again, are getting tariffed and we're still paying for, the American companies that use damn near all of their parts from those more neighboring countries, they're going to pay even more. And when I say they're going to pay even more, I'm saying you're going to pay even more.
I do know that the tariffs, the cost of tariffs on automobiles, which will begin, I don't know, August 1st or whatever, will be paid by people like me, the consumer. The question is, does the president realize the consumer pays the tariffs?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with that. Who pays the tariffs is a choice. And what we've seen thus far is that the manufacturers are eating a substantial portion of the tariffs and taking it into their profit margins. So you might see, for instance, Toyota hasn't raised prices, and they may choose to go for market share rather than raising prices.
Scott Besson said it's a choice. Before, it was the companies will eat the tariffs. That choice for companies that are looking to make more billions of dollars, that choice would be either they take those hits or they pass it on down, or they don't incentivize in other ways, or they don't invest in all these ways that these guys keep saying that they will. He's admitting it. He's saying it right in front of you. Maybe they'll find other ways to not take these hits. All of this is negative things. You understand that, right? All these things that they're talking about. Well, they should take the negativity of these policies. They're not talking about the fact that there's negativity in all of these policies. He said those companies, as I point out, will make a choice. One of those companies is Amazon. I want to show you the choices that they're making.
Let's take a look here on the wall at what Amazon is doing, okay? Amazon price is spiking. The price of low-cost items on Amazon from the 20th of January to the 1st of July, those prices have gone up here. As we see, as a matter of fact, right here in the corner, you can see it, the gain is 5.2%. Again, low-cost items. Amazon is sneaking in some price hikes. Now, why is that interesting? Well, Walmart's actually doing the opposite. with low-cost goods across major companies of Target, Walmart, and Amazon. So Walmart here has actually come down with some of its low-cost goods. We see Target and Amazon have been going up. So they're kind of trying to sneak in. We're wondering if tariffs are passed along and that kind of thing. Expensive goods, by the way, have actually not been up as much. You start there February, March, and April, you see coming down and kind of leveling out, if anything, from all three. But to go back to the beginning, kind of interesting there what Amazon is doing.
Amazon, the same company that was going to start putting up on their price increases on their site, the reasons why things jumped up. It shows the percentage of maybe the price increase, and it says due to tariffs, and Donald Trump lost his mind. How dare you be transparent about prices? How dare you tell your consumers why they're paying a higher price and that it's my fault? Last little clip here from Scott Bessent. Listen closely, because what you'll hear from people, and I've been hearing it for maybe a month now, is look at all the tariff revenue that the country is bringing in. Every time you hear this, the reasons why they want to detach you from realizing that we're paying for the tariffs is because this, the way normal life works is if there's money coming in from tariffs and the American consumers are paying those tariffs, that money that's coming in is coming out of your wallet. So listen to the numbers that Scott Bessent wants to talk about and how successful this has been, and understand every one of those numbers that he's pointing out is not coming from out of the country. It's coming from the higher prices that we're all paying. There's a reason behind it. And that reason is they need even more money in these coffers to pay for these rich elitist tax cuts that they just passed in that stupid ass bill that's giving the rich people even more of our money. This is what the tariff policy does. Please pay attention.
Secretary, how much revenue have you raised so far from tariffs? I know that we saw a budget surplus in the Treasury in the month of June. Last time we saw a budget surplus was President Trump's first term. Is that largely because of the tariff revenue, and how much have you raised so far this year?
Well, we're closing in on $100 billion. I think we could annualize at $300 billion. So a way to think about that is that's roughly 1% of our U.S. 30 trillion GDP. So that is a big number, Maria, and we didn't get any credit for that in the CBO scoring. I don't agree with the CBO scoring. But CBO scoring did say that there's a chance over the 10-year window we could take in $2.8 trillion of tariff revenue. And the great thing about the June number was not only was it an increase in tariff revenue, we brought down expenses. So it was a great combination: lower expenses, higher revenues. And that's how we are going to get this budget mess that we were left with under control.